The village engineer is not really an engineer, he's an arborist, and he concluded it needed to be replaced without ever really doing the specs for the bridge, which has then delayed it. People are taking alternative, dangerous routes, which I believe the council will be sued for because it is their negligence for not taking care of the footbridge. And we're going to be spending money on Shedler, but yet that is not a safety concern. The footbridge is. And you're going to have someone die because you want to put a park on Shedler. And that's something that, again, will be it's on your council now. Because this has been a priority. We've been claimed it was a priority, and then it just disappeared. And I'm not certain why it wasn't discussed at the budget, which, was well made aware of prior to the budget, and again ignored, because Shedler took priority over safety concerns. And I just saw, again, one of the initial bid for Shedler for the parking lot was $225,000 now to apply for a grant. Now it's up to $325,000 to apply for the grant. How much more is it going to balloon before you guys start addressing the safety concerns of this town? Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Good evening. Ann Loving, 342 South Irving Street. Twice this year, I've given a vocabulary word from this podium. One was obsessed, and one was shyster. In both cases, the deputy mayor took issue with my statements. Well, here's a much smaller word, but powerful nonetheless: lie. A lie is a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive and mislead. It is an intentional untruth. In a recent e-notice from Mayor Vagianos, I noted some untruths. He wrote, "As someone who lives across the street from a school and recreational field," unquote.
I will let you know you should be careful when you say lie, because it is a slanderous statement if found to be untrue, and I will allow you to proceed.
Mr. Mayor, you live on Rivera Court, which is a cul-de-sac. You are not across the street from the Glen School. There are houses behind you, a street, and eventually the school and its playing field. He wrote, "Our community deserves a park that everyone can enjoy and serves the needs of all residents, not just those who live in close proximity," unquote. Mr. Mayor, hundreds of residents spoke at meetings, signed petitions, and sent emails protesting your huge plan for Shedler. Many of them live very far from the Shedler property, as far away as Highland Avenue, Clinton Avenue, Ferris Place, South Irving Street, Doremus Avenue, and more. Concerns about your grandiose plan for a sports complex came from many residents who are not in close proximity. Suggesting that only those in close proximity had concerns is an untruth, in my opinion. He wrote, quote, "With our decision to start permanent remediation of PFAs, we will have drinking water that is well below the national requirements currently being used," unquote. Mr. Mayor, the remediation of the PFAs began quite some time ago, so your statement in the e-notice that "with our decision" is entirely misleading. It suggests that only now is something being done about these toxic chemicals in the water. Dare I say that this is another lie, in my opinion? Remediation has been going on for a long time. Moreover, the plan to put artificial turf at Shedler will add PFAs to the groundwater and especially to the wells of those living in the vicinity. On November 5th, 2021, after learning he was elected to complete the term vacated by Councilwoman Walsh, Mr. Vagianos said in a newspaper interview, quote, "I am overjoyed that my message, 'People are tired of mistrust, people want unity,' resonated with the people of Ridgewood," unquote. Mr. Vagianos, you were correct that citizens want to trust their elected officials. So why are we being lied to, in my opinion?
Thank you, Ann.
Jacqueline Hone, 30 Carriage Lane. On May 10th, the public hearing for the acquisition of 510 West Saddle River Road. I will continue with the misinformation that continues to come from the village of Ridgewood, and I'll leave it at that. And it's, sure, I'm sorry. So May 10th, the public hearing for 510 West Saddle River Road, we sat here and we asked for any information possible could be given to the public regarding this acquisition and project. All the tables were bare. There were no plans. Not a single question was answered. Coming from the same council, same mayor, Councilwoman Siobhan Winograd, that constantly talk about transparency and communicating with members of the public, but yet not a single question was answered on May 10th. And I stood here and I said, the application for this acquisition grant, the whole reason why we were there that day was to submit an application 2 days later, which was May 12th. So either you had the information and didn't provide it to the public, or you were going to quickly turn it around in 24 hours. I didn't want to believe, but based on the information that we obtained via Oprah, 105 pages of an application, including supplemental material, a lot of which answered our questions, was submitted to Bergen County. So it was deliberate. It was intentional. There were omissions that were not given to the public. There are public folders over there that this council prides on providing information to the public during these meetings. But on that day, not a single sheet of the 105 pages submitted, less than 2 days later, was made available to the public. That's shameful. I don't know if you'd call that a lie, but it's definitely misinformation. Misleading, disingenuous, amongst other words. One of the things that weren't included in that application, or wasn't known at the time, was a response from Bergen County to our village manager, which says, in addition to adjoining, this is from Elaine Gold, Historic Preservation Specialist of Bergen County, 510 West Saddle River Road has a residence that was not captured on the historic site surveys for the village. A report of the file at the county also indicates the area has a high potential for historic archaeology. Then attached to that was a report that 510 West Saddle River will also have to go through the exact same criterias and historic assessment before anything is done and anything is approved.
Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else from the audience? We have a caller on hybrid access, Mr. Hallaby. You're on mute.
Yeah, this is Warwick Hallaby, 1 Franklin Avenue. I'm joining you by Zoom, and I'm delighted you reinstated the hybrid type of meeting because it allows people like myself who happens to be away this evening to join the conference. And I really wasn't planning on speaking until I listened to some of the nonsense being thrown at you. And I use nonsense with care. The 4 of you represent the best and the brightest. You are honest to a T. You're doing your best. You've done more in the 3 months you've been in power than most village councils has not done in years. So just hang in there. Listen to what people have to say, because sometimes jesters oft prove prophets, though I can't imagine any of the comments that were cast at you today as maybe the work of a jester, but not anything that would prove prophetic. So hang in there and do not let these insults veer you from a tremendous course that you have embarked on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Halaby. Any other comments from the audience?
Good?
No.
Nope. Everyone gets one bite at the apple. Thank you.
At the end, you can speak, and then you could speak a second time at the end.
Yes.
If there's time.
Seeing no other comments, I will close public comment, and we will go to the manager's report.
Paul, before we begin, I just
So
want to make
sorry.
sure.
If anybody wants to respond to anything anyone
I
said.
do. I just want to make sure, Suzanne, when we came to the bridge, I did contact engineering, Lorraine and I did, and we had the official engineering assessment highlighting the corrosion and the detailed report of the bridge's failures. You have that? Does everybody? Okay, I just want to make sure, because when we do it, okay. As long as you got it, that's okay. I mean, the bridge was before my time here in terms of capital, but if you need information like the detailed report of why the structure was failing, we can get you that. And I just wanted to make sure the file went out. And I believe, Lorraine, you established a link because the file was so large so other people can see it with IT?
Dylan was the one that was able to transform it so that it was transferable.
I also wanted to say, I believe Mr. Rudishauser is a licensed engineer. He may have worked in the past as an arborist, but that must have been decades ago.
It actually was decades ago, and he is a licensed engineer. Anyone else? Good. We will go on to the manager's report.
Okay, council chat is held on the first Saturday of the month. The council chat, the next one is scheduled for June 3rd from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Call for reservations 201-670-5500, extension 2207. Walk-ins are welcome. However, reservations have priority. The Ridgewood Guild sponsors Music in the Night for the 14th season. Will provide music in various locations on Friday nights starting May 26th through Labor Day. The Memorial Day holiday is Monday, May 29th, and will be observed in Memorial Park Avana Square at 11 a.m. American Legion Post 53 has planned a patriotic program and welcomes the public to attend and remember the sacrifices made by our veterans. The primary election will be held on June 6th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. All polling places will have new voting machines, which are similar to those used for early voting. The polling locations will be the same. All registered voters have received sample ballots, which gives your polling location. These new machines will continue to be used going forward. As a reminder, all dogs 7 months or older must be licensed. The deadline to register is June 30th in order to avoid a late fee. The Bergen County Utilities Authority has a recycling event at Bergen Community College on June 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free for Bergen residents, ID is required, and no commercial vehicles allowed. The 2-day-per-week water irrigation regulation is in effect year-round. Odd-numbered addresses may water on Tuesday and Saturday. Even-numbered addresses may do so on Wednesday and Sunday. No irrigation is allowed on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Irrigation is allowed before 10 a.m. or after 6 p.m. to limit evaporation. Those with smart controllers or automatic sprinklers may only water between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. You must register your smart controller every year. By adhering to this schedule, we hope to avoid having to turn on the wells that have not yet been treated for PFAS. Graydon Pool Grand Opening Day is Saturday, June 3rd, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The hours will be such for the entire season through Labor Day, which is September 4th. The Parks and Recreation Department welcomes older adults on June 3rd from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the rain date is Sunday, June 4th. Enjoy an individually wrapped breakfast treat and music on the patio. Come and learn about Graydon Pool and all it has to offer. You can knit, play chess, play cards, and board games, socialize with friends, relax in the sun or shade, and of course, swim. Please register on ridgewoodnj.net/communitypass by May 26th in order to attend. The pedestrian plaza, where streets are closed to vehicular traffic from Walnut Street to Broad Street along East Ridgewood Avenue, will be held on Saturdays and Sundays from June 3rd to October 9th. There will be music and entertainment in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square on Saturday night and Sunday. Each month will be culturally themed, and there will be special activities for children. Please plan to come and shop, dine, and enjoy the entertainment this summer. The 65th Annual Free Summer Concert Series begins June 1st at the Cashel Memorial Shell on Veterans Field. Please bring a chair or blanket to sit on. Concerts start at 8:30 p.m. unless noted otherwise, and they're scheduled every Tuesday and Thursday in the months of June and July up to August 10th. All Village of Ridgewood offices and departments will be closed on Monday, May 29th in observance of Memorial Day. There will be no sanitation, recycling, or yard waste collection on that day, so please check your village calendar for the adjusted dates for these pickups. Pride Day will be celebrated on Saturday, June 10th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Memorial Park at Van Ness Square. There will be music, local speakers of all ages, and the raising of the Pride flag. The Ridgewood Guild is sponsoring free movies in the park Wednesday nights at 9 p.m., again in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square. June 14th is The Sting. June 28th, Mulan. July 5th, Footloose. July 16th, Pirates of the Caribbean. August 2nd, Man of Steel. And August 16th, Sunset Boulevard. The Guild also sponsors Art in the Park, taking place the first Friday in June, July, and August from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pino's Palette provides the art that is for viewing and for sale. Village Council upcoming meetings are broadcast live from the courtroom here, also on Channel 34 on FiOS. The upcoming meetings and Zoom and by phone, and also on YouTube. The upcoming meetings are June 7th and June 28th are work sessions at 7:30 p.m., and June 14th is our public meeting at 7:30 p.m. That's all I have.
Thank you. Council reports. Evan?
Great. Thanks so much. I'll be brief because I'm very much looking forward to the Gold Star family presentation in a little bit. So yesterday I spent some time with the library board. They're getting a new roof, which is great. I'm continually amazed at how well the library is run, and really appreciative to be serving in that capacity. Also just want to reiterate a couple things that Heather just mentioned. June 3rd council chat, I will actually be there, so I'd hope to see some of you folks show up. I'd love to be able to chat with people informally. Again, 9 to 11 a.m. I'll be here along with at least one of my colleagues who I think is Pam. I think you're with me? No? Me and Siobhan. You guys are in treat if you're able to show up on June 3rd. Also just Pedestrian Plaza that evening. Really looking forward to that as well. Finally, just want to say a special thank you to all the veterans that are here tonight. You really honor us with your presence. Thank you all for coming out. And want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. But of course, I would ask everyone take a moment, think about the folks that did not come home, the reason for the holiday, but hope that everybody does enjoy the long weekend.
Thanks, Evan. Siobhan?
Sure. So on May 15th, I partnered with a representative from Glen Rock to walk our shared waterways. It was very, very interesting to see people who are downstream. We've met with some people from Hohokus, and Glen Rock also had an election, and I met with one of their junior council members to start some discussion as we begin to talk more seriously about some things with flooding. So I want to thank Paula Gilligan for that. It was great, great day. And on May 16th, I had the pleasure of attending Linda's Grove's dedication at Behind the Stable. It was a perfect day, made absolutely even better with the presence of dogs, lots of friends, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for all the work that they did, and our Parks Department, particularly Nancy Bigos, for pulling it all together. It was truly a lovely day, and I know she would have loved it. The only thing that was missing was a tea sandwich. On May 19th, I attended the Access meeting where we met with both Federated, LSHSA, and we had a presentation by Michael Kilcullen, who runs the STEPS program in our community. The STEPS program services 18 to 21-year-olds who have left Ridgewood High School and are now participating in a program to help them be job ready. They engage in many elements of the community. They have part-time internships. I see some of my YMCA friends. They work out at the YMCA. It was a great experience. I got the PowerPoint presentation. I sent it to Heather and asked that she circulate it to the council. I think it's a unique thing to have STEPS in the center of downtown, and we did have one of them reach out today that they want to be an intern because they have social media content creation, and I thought that was great. So thank you to the Access Committee. We also had the ongoing discussion of how hard it is for our special needs population to find meaningful employment, and this is something that I think the whole council is interested in exploring. We are still very warm around the Rising Above Bakery idea, and there's a discussion of how, once we have shelter and housing provided, what do we do to integrate our special needs population, adult population, more into the community? On May 22nd, I, along with Heather, Chris, and Matt Rogers, took a field trip of many of our village assets that we're going to be hearing more out of. I did want to say thank you to our engineering staff, Heather and Matt, for being part of that. Being new, it's always interesting to go see things firsthand, and the village does own a lot of inventory, so that was wonderful. I also, on the same day, met with the Pride Committee, and Pride will be June 10th in Van Ness Square. We talked about some really exciting things. It's going to be from 1 to 2 o'clock, and we talked about the crosswalk, which Deputy Mayor Perrin is helping us get paint donated, and we're very much hoping the whole community joins us on June 10th at Van Ness. Last night I attended a Parks meeting that was wonderful, and I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but I do want to say the whole entire Parks and Recreation Committee had the luxury of pre-screening this, and speaking for the whole committee, it was overwhelming, and I think everybody in here is in for a treat, and it's so beautiful, and this very wonderful committee from Parks is so excited for the rest of the community to see this. It's like a big reveal. We also discussed some issues regarding infrastructure, the fact that Graydon Pool is opening the same day of the pedestrian plaza, which is very excited, June 3rd. And I want to, again, thank Nancy Bigos and the park staff, because as many are aware, last year there was a national lifeguard shortage, and it was a really serious problem. It affected the hours. We couldn't open the park, and our Parks Department really, really hustled to make people understand that Graydon's a wonderful place to go, but it's also a wonderful place to work. And we have enough lifeguards this year, and we're very much excited about that. And lastly, I want to thank Frank Mortimer that his final count for No Mow May is 320 yards. They went as far as to calculate the acreage, and it roughly adds up to the length of 45 football fields. And that's it.
Thanks, Siobhan. Lorraine?
Thank you. Cash Rochelle is going to be holding their first concert of the summer next Thursday, June 1st at 8 p.m. It's Tunes in June, Ridgewood High School bands. So that starts at 8, but then for the rest of June, all the other concerts on Tuesdays and Thursdays are at 8:30, and then in July, on Tuesdays they're at 8:30, and on Thursdays they're at 7:30. So check the schedule, because this is the first year that they are doing different times. It used to always be 8:30, but the Baseball Association was nice enough to work things out so that some of the bigger concerts can start at 7:30, so they have more time to play. So the first one starts next Thursday, 8 p.m. CSAC met last Thursday. We spoke about the Franklin Avenue corridor. The village engineer said we have fulfilled our work as far as he was concerned, and we're just waiting on the county to advance the project. A discussion was had about possibly the council writing a letter to the county to see how we can progress, but it was discussed that prior council members had gone to the county and were not met with big smiles, shall we say. So the committee thought maybe instead of the council writing a letter, possibly, Heather, could the village manager contact someone at the county and just request an update and see if there's something they're waiting for from the Village of Ridgewood. Thank you. I appreciate that. The final design for the Safe Routes to School is complete. and construction will hopefully break ground in the fall of 2023. West Glen sidewalks was a topic. A robust conversation was had about the necessity for the completion of the West Glen sidewalks. All committee members hope that the council will reallocate some capital money and complete the project this year. There was a request to add 4 one-way and no right turn signs and no left turn sign, if it's appropriate, along Union Street. A lot of people tend to go down Union Street the wrong way. It seems that many people that go to the doctor's office there do that. So they're hopefully going to be putting up more signs to improve compliance with the one-way traffic regulations. Our next meeting is Thursday, June 15th. I wanted to say this past Sunday, May 21st, the Project Pride Committee and many, many volunteers met down at Van Ness Memorial Park at a bright and early time of 7:30 a.m. And we planted all of the pots in the downtown. It was a great effort. So many people came out to help. We also planted the flower bed on Broad Street by the parking garage. It looks great. And we had planned to plant McSud Circle. We ran into a little trouble, but within the next few weeks, we hope to have that beautiful for the summer. And I just want to thank everybody that came out and volunteered. We really could not do it without our residents' help. And the committee members also are just phenomenal. And then, last but not least, I really want to thank everybody that was involved in the banners, the Hometown Heroes. I don't know if anybody has seen them. They are beautiful, and just it's wonderful to see, and I hope this becomes a tradition for us every year because it's fantastic. So thank you so much. That's it.
Thanks, Lorraine. Pam?
Thank you. The Emergency Medical Services held a trivia night on Sunday that was not only fun, it was pretty educational. And I think there were no empty seats in the house, and this is down in the youth lounge. We had about 10 teams, and I'm proud to say my team came in third. And I hope as a result of so many people turning out that they gain more volunteers for EMS. And if anybody would like to look into becoming an EMT, please call Brittany Ezrati. Email her at bezratty@ridgewoodnj.net if you're interested in doing life-saving work. I did want to add a few particulars about the entertainment in the pedestrian plaza starting June 3rd. At 10:30 in the morning to 11:30, we'll be having children's entertainment. And also in the afternoon, we'll have a Peruvian dancer in line with our theme of the summer-long Heritage Festival. June is going to be the Americas, and so we are looking at North America, South America, Central America, and after our Peruvian dancer, we will be having a band from Colombia play. In the evening, starting at 7:30, will be a band in the park. You may remember this band. They've played here before, the Jose Elias Project. And let's see, if you want to know more about what's going on in the pedestrian plaza, you can Google Destination Ridgewood, or go on to Instagram or Facebook and look up Destination Ridgewood. That's where they'll be posting all the events. I did want to encourage everyone to attend the Memorial Day celebration at 11 o'clock on Monday because it's always thoughtful and very moving. Also, the AM Rotary Club is doing a day of service in Ridgewood. We will be painting the fire boxes that sorely need painting. And if anybody would like to join in, we're taking volunteers. There is a waiver that has to be signed, but it's a really good task for residents and non-residents. And so contact me if you would like to be part of that. That's all I have.
Thanks, Pam. And I'm just going to jump on a couple of themes that have already been discussed. I want to give giant kudos to the Parks Department, to Nancy Bigos. The lifeguard shortage continues to this day nationally, and she and her team have pulled together enough lifeguards to keep Graydon running very strong, and she deserves real appreciation for that. So that's really a big deal. Britt Israti, that Siobhan mentioned, has, I believe, has been made. Am I correct in saying she's been made a captain in the ambulance corps, which we're all so excited about. She is currently a staff member here at the Village, and she has this energy about her, and she is in charge of recruiting. I can't think of a better person to do this, and we're all very excited to have her on board. And finally, the pedestrian plaza. I can't begin to thank all the people who are responsible for bringing this to our Village next week. It'll start Saturday, June 3rd. The merchants and restaurants are all very excited about it, but I have to begin by thanking the great team that's put this together, from the police and the streets to Heather and Matt, but most especially Jeannie Johnson has assembled a team of people that is, this is a person who raises an army of talented people, and the entertainment is going to be amazing. And most importantly, to my friend and colleague, Pam Perrin, who is overseeing all of the entertainment and many of the logistical matters associated with this. This is a heavy lift, and it's going to be amazing. So we're all looking forward to it. And that's all I have. And now we're going to come to the reason for the evening, which is the Gold Star Monument presentation. I want to invite up Tess and Lynn and Givy to make their presentation. We are all very excited and anxious to see and hear what you have put forth. Bob, let's just make sure that that's on. Is the green light on? There's a little button right there.
Is it? Can you hear me?
Much better. Here we go.
Here we go. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for inviting us. Before I begin, someone mentioned about Memorial Day celebration. Veterans organizations would appreciate if you don't use the word celebration.
Yeah. My mistake.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Now, the reason we're here is to, of course, make a Gold Star presentation. I want you to know that when I was commander in 2010, I was commander only for 2 years, and I never knew anything about a Gold Star Mother's Day event, which at that time it was known as Gold Star Mother's Day. Many years later, it was changed to Gold Star Family Day by President Obama. I'm going to ask Mrs. Maria Bombase to speak on behalf of the American Legion, because in 2010, when I first met her, she brought to my attention the fact that there is a Mother's Day, Gold Star Mother's Day event, and she wanted to know if the Legion could get involved. And of course, absolutely, let's do that. So we've been holding this event now since 2011, and it's only through the efforts of Mrs. Bombase to bring to our attention the fact that this did exist. So the Gold Star Committee and the American Legion Post in Ridgewood has asked Maria Bombase to speak on our behalf. Thank you. Maria.
Maria Bombase, 168 Chestnut Street, apartment 329. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the American Legion, Ridgewood Post 53, and the Ridgewood Gold Star Families Committee to submit the final proposal for our Gold Star Families Monument. As you recall, the Legion and the committee had been diligently working since 2021 on a fitting tribute to Gold Star families that will capture the essence of their sacrifice and our gratitude. There have been many proposals and some missteps, but finally we have gotten to a design we are very enthusiastic about and are proudly submitting tonight for the Council's consideration and approval to move forward. We last were in front of this Council in October of 2022. The Council disagreed with our proposal at that time, but they pledged to help us move this project forward as they agree with our intent of honoring Gold Star families in our downtown. And so they have. The Council put us in touch with Ridgewood residents Tess Giuliani, designer, and Lynn Brady, architect. We have been blessed with their collaboration in this final rendition. They graciously volunteered their time, were patient, and listened to all our requirements and concerns. They have delivered a beautiful, timeless, and emotive design that they will present now.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Brady. I live at 350 Vesta Court. I'm an architect and co-designer of the Gold Star Family Monument with Tess Giuliani. I'm just going to review the components or the symbols that we were asked to include in the monument. First was the rosette of American Legion 53, the Gold Star lapel pin that's given to the immediate Gold Star family members, dog tags, the folded American flag presented to the next of kin at the funeral service, and then the all-important Gold Star. The location, as I think you are aware, is at the rear of the Ridgewood War Memorial. It would be facing into Van Ness Square, where much of the activity occurs. We're really aware of the existing monument. It's about to be 100 years old, and it's a beautiful, very distinctive monument. So what we tried to do with the design was to leave it as untouched and as visible as possible. Our design had we really went through a lot of decision making, but trying to kind of boil it down to what our design would be. We wanted it to be universal and timeless, acknowledge both grief and survivorship, express the meaning of the Gold Star, and honor the sacrifices of Gold Star families. So Tess now will take over from me and describe the actual design and be presenting our video. Tess?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tess Giuliani, and like Lynn, a long-time resident here in Ridgewood, and we were honored to be asked to do this. We are delighted to be here to present it to you. And we have created a short film through the genius of digital rendering, computer rendering. So, and Gibby, our assistant, will play it for us. now we have 5 photographs to talk about. You can see it's a monument for all seasons. All right. And first photograph. Right. This is right, here we go. This photograph I took in 2019 when I was walking past the park. It was beautifully illuminated, and I went up, and I was overwhelmed understanding what it was about. And I kept the picture. And here it is, 2023, when it seemed appropriate that we should use it here. As you can see, all the walkways are illuminated with luminaries, and it is in the last Sunday, I believe, of September. It is the Gold Star Family's yacht. Right. Thank you. So, Gibby, could we go to the second? This is the monument. Now, please understand, we have this wonderful writing up here. This is really a placeholder for wording that is in progress. It may already be done, but for the reasons of presenting the monument, we have this wording here. The monument's size it's 60 inches wide, and it stands, if you stand in front of it, the bottom of it is 34 inches high, and it angles to about 42 or 43 inches high, which is a very nice and comfortable height for someone to approach this monument. And it's wide enough at 60 inches that 1 person, 2 people, 3 people can come up and stand in front of it. And it is completely made of bronze. This is a 400-pound monument. The plaque on the monument is made of, again, bronze with different finishes and different textures. We have the elements there, and I'd like to speak about the square on the right-hand side. This is textured. The black represents death. It represents sorrow. And the crack, which is the soul of this monument, it's the broken heart. It's the shattered families. And of course, the beautiful gold star is the symbol of the Gold Star families, and it's holding it together. In the middle, we have on the top, we have a medallion, which is the medallion lapel pin for the Gold Star families. And then we have our saying. And again, as I say, it's a beautiful saying. It is going to be replaced, so I can't even read it from here. I apologize, but I think we're okay. All right. On the very bottom, we have another medallion, and that is for the post 53. Of course, it's because of the post that we are here tonight. And as we go to the left, this is the 3-corner flag. I have my dad's. That's given to the families of the fallen soldiers. It will actually have 6 stars on it. And it has the American eagle, which is our symbol of strength and freedom. And in the talons of the eagle, there is a chain with 2 dog tags. It leans, and maybe we could go to the next one. Yes, you can see it leans in respect. It leans west into the monument, into the memorial, which is really quite beautiful. And I think we may have a photograph where when the sun comes down, it will pass over the monument. It's really quite beautiful. Wait, let's stay here. I want to talk about where the brick meets the grass. This area right here. First of all, it will not be grass there. We have found out that we cannot have grass there. There will be a plate underneath the monument, and there will be granite, probably a large slab of granite that is flush to the ground. Where the brick meets the granite, we are going to what they call soldier the brick around that curve. And when you solder a brick, you turn it up on its vertically. So it creates a barrier. So if a wheelchair were to approach it, the wheels would not fall in. If a bicycle were to approach it, it would not hit the monument. And the monument is bronze on the outside, but the structure of the monument is stainless steel. It's shaped like a wishbone, and it comes down to a plate, and it has 6 rods? About 6 rods that are going to come down from the underneath. We'll never see them. It comes down into a concrete block, and that concrete block down 18, 30 inches down, and then there will be another block of concrete that it sits on. So this monument, although it may look a little delicate, it is strong, and it's not going anywhere. Right. So we have actually some samples of bronze, if you'd like to see them, mostly for the weight of bronze. Would you like to see them?
Certainly.
Lynn? And well, if you can lift them, right. And while Lynn is doing that, those are actually the benches in the park. We took the measurements of the monument, of the chains, of the stanchions, and all around, and everything you see is digitally created. It is not a cut and paste, which is typical, but there we have it. It's computers. They're marvelous. Isn't that incredible how heavy they are for such small pieces there? Alrighty, may we go to the next one? This will give you an idea of what the average man and woman standing next to the monument would look like. You can see it's proportioned very nicely. All right, and let me see if there's anything else. Oh, excuse me. What I'd like to mention is we lean into the monument by Henry Bacon. And this monument behind us was erected in 1924, so as Lynn said, it's coming up for its 100th anniversary. Henry Bacon designed the Lincoln Memorial. So we are very proud to have the World War I Memorial in our town, in our park, and we are absolutely honored to stand next to it. All right. So I think we have one more photograph, which is really exciting. This was taken by the veteran who was a member of Post 53, Joseph Burns. He took this in 2013. We lost it. Let me go back. Okay. 2013. It's a beautiful angle. It is almost ethereal looking, as if that soldier is there in spirit. We asked him if we could include it. It was so wonderful, and he said yes. So let's see. May I go to my end? Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, when you look at this picture in particular, because we could never capture this, if you look to the right, above the luminary on the extreme right, the column, you see a little bit of the column, and you see the eagle that's sitting on top of it, which is extraordinary, which is the reason we wanted to have an eagle down at eye level. And I think that's all. Okay. I think that's perfect. That's a wonderful ending. All right.
Once again, many thanks to the council for having faith in the worthiness of this project and for putting us in touch with Tess and Lynn. We thank Tess and Lynn for their final design. We're grateful and honored to collaborate with top caliber professionals from our own backyard.
Thank you.
As an update, representatives of the Legion and the Gold Star Families Committee met today to consider various proposals for the final wording on the monument. We wanted wording that conveys our sentiment and pairs with the Gold Star family's theme of honor and remember, without using phrases found in many other monuments or documents. We have chosen the following. A grateful nation honors those families whose loved ones made the ultimate sacrifice, serving our country and defending freedom. The depth of the grief at the loss of their family member is everlasting. We have presented this wording to the committee members that were not able to attend today, and we'll have this finalized shortly. So, members of the council, thank you again for your support and consideration of this project, and we look forward to getting this approved as soon as possible for us to move to making this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Questions and comments from the council?
I have no questions. I just want to thank you, Lynn, Tess. This is just above and beyond. It's wonderful. Van Ness is a special place. It'll be an even specialer place with this. You've really done a service to Ridgewood. I also want to thank all the folks from the American Legion who stuck with this plan. It's beautiful, and I cannot wait to be at the grand opening when we dedicate this.
Thank you. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I want to thank the Legion for sticking with us and for their patience. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I think the results are well worth it. I just have one question. I'm curious as to, do we have a dollar figure that we think you are going to need to?
Not at this moment, right?
We don't have it at this moment, but we are to have it soon.
Yes.
Okay. Because we need to start fundraising, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I've learned so much working with Post 53. I really appreciate your educating us and working with us, and we can all be proud of this when it's in place. I'm so excited about it.
I'm thrilled, and I'm so grateful to the Legion and the creative staff. It feels so special to just be around it, and I don't think you're going to have any problems fundraising, and if you need any help with any of that, I'd be more than willing to help. My brother was in the Navy. He was on the USS Indianapolis. I've talked to him every day after I hear from Ed Houlihan about the updates and the banners. I'm very grateful for what you're doing for our town and for our local military, and it seems like you guys are sitting in the sun, and this is a lovely addition to it. I think it's just such a beautiful thing for one of our prettiest parks, and thank you to everybody for making it happen.
Thank you as well. Thank you.
I'm overwhelmed with this. This is the most moving thing I have ever seen. I want to begin by thanking Tess and Lynn, whose artistry and vision in putting this together, and I know the incredible amount of time that you spent putting this together, and as Maria said, to have people of this caliber in our own community to dedicate their time and effort to this truly timeless memorial is amazing. You said things tonight that this represents both grief and survivorship, and that makes me very emotional. I learned that a monument is to the living. A memorial is to those who have passed. This is a monument to the families, and that's who we honor with this. That you were able to blend this monument with the memorial behind it seamlessly, beautifully, in the most prominent place in the park is really, I know that you have both done amazing things in your careers. I think this may be the pinnacle. It's truly, truly wonderful, and perhaps my favorite moment in all of this. I want to thank the American Legion. This has been a project that you have worked on for many years. There were several proposals along the way that, for one reason or another, didn't make it here tonight. But I remember the moment when Tess and Lynn presented it to the American Legion in this room. And I remember when you, Maria, said, under your breath, but I was sitting right behind you, you said, they knocked it out of the park. And you did. And Legionnaires, we needed you to push this through, to push this forward, to not let us sit on our hands. And I am so grateful that we did the very, very smart thing and gave it to someone who knew how to do this. And you trusted them to do this. So this was a team effort between you, the American Legion, and these designers. And we will be forever grateful to everyone, because this is the monument that Gold Star families deserve. So I believe from our comments that we have a consensus that this is something that the council wants to accept, and we know that it's pending the language, which is going to be somewhere along the lines of what you just said. I believe that we have a consensus on that also, and I know you're going to work it out, and along with the designers, and keep us in the loop on all of that. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Let me add one other comment.
Yes, Bob.
You may not be aware of this.
Bob, why don't you speak in the mic?
Give
In the mic.
Folks at home can hear you. Yeah.
You may not be aware of this, but there is only one Gold Star monument in the whole state of New Jersey. So we're going to have the second Gold Star and the monument that I'm talking about, it's referred to as a Gold Star Mother's Monument. It's a lone figure of a grief-stricken mother. And it stands at the entrance to the Vietnam Museum in Homedale, New Jersey. We're going to have the only monument in the state of New Jersey that's dedicated to Gold Star families. And we're going to have the privilege of having it in Ridgewood. So just think of that. We're going to have it in Northwest Bergen County, in the village of Ridgewood. So I think that's going to be, quite a nice thing to have, and we can all be very proud of that. Thank you.
And I think we all are. This will be on our agenda for final approval on June 14th. So you need to nail down your language by then. I know you will. I know you're very close. And you can start raising money. Anybody in the audience have a couple of extra nickels? Let's go. Cough them up. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our agenda, the rest of our agenda. Ridgewood Water, we have authorizing applications to the New Jersey DEP.
Yeah, they made their way down there.
You have the brass. I'm just making sure.
I'm sorry, looks
It's
like we're
okay.
still finishing up a few
That's
things
okay.
here. Siobhan was going to take the samples home.
Take care, Tess. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Heather.
It's okay. The first one is authorizing application to NJDEP for treatment works approval. So as we know, Ridgewood Water is in the process of upgrading their various facilities with granular activated carbon treatment systems, and this results in backwash discharge that needs to be directed to the village's water pollution control facility. The quantity of the discharge is such that a treatment works approval is required from the NJDP related to the sanitary sewer discharge. The treatment works approval designates an authorized representative to review and then sign the various permit applications. To expedite the process, Chris Redeshauser, our village engineer, will be signing the TWAs as required. This is a blanket authorizing resolution to reduce the number of resolutions the village council would need to approve for each individual treatment facility. So this should cover all of the future facilities.
Everybody good with this?
Yep.
Okay. The next one is 15-minute parking spaces in the Chestnut Street parking lot. There will be 4 15-minute parking spaces in the Chestnut lot, 2 at the top of the lot near the exit driveway, and 2 at the alley near Park West Tavern. This will allow people coming in to access Oak Street, the shoe repair, the dry cleaners, and then the restaurants for a quick pickup of a to-go order. So we had discussed this previously, and we're going to do that and try it out and see if it works, and it should also be beneficial for the pedestrian plaza.
So let me ask, so during the pedestrian plaza, Chestnut is closed, but it'll be, well.
The lot is open.
The lot's open, so the street doesn't close until
Correct.
beyond the lot.
Correct.
Okay, so there'll be 4 spots.
For
that-
15-minute, right.
Okay.
So, where people can go in and out, do a quick errand, pick up some food, whatever it may be.
And
Okay.
they will be near Oak Street.
Correct.
Okay.
They'll be at both the alleyways. So the upper one, Lorraine, like by the back of B. Smith,
Right.
and then by Park West. So if you wanted to run to the Shoemaker or down there. Heather, are they going in this week, or do we have to?
No, probably not this week, probably next week.
Okay.
I mean, I would just say, it's a great idea, but I think we need more than 4, but.
Well, we'll start with 4, see how that goes, because the issue is that whole lot has always been 3 hours. So, to take 4 spaces away, let's see if they're used, because it's not just for the pedestrian plaza, it's just in general. So let's see if they're used, let's see what the usage is, and we can go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think we discovered during COVID that the 15-minute meters are terrific for the downtown, and as Heather said, we try it out. If they're always filled, we add another couple.
That's where Lorraine's going to park.
Let's make sure that we advertise this enough, that we get the word out there, and on our website, under the parking tile, that it names these 15-minute meters. I did notice recently that on the parking tile, it doesn't mention that there are 15-minute meters on Oak Street.
Okay,
It mentions other ones, but those are missing.
okay,
All good?
yes. The next one is authorizing permit applications for DEP permits for Graydon Pool. Parks and Recreation Department has been advised by the DEP that due to the quantity of effluent that they discharge into the village's sanitary sewer collection system, the pool requires a number of discharge permits. Again, it's an authorized representative to review and then sign the various permit applications. Chris Redeshauser, our village engineer, will be authorized to execute the permits on the village's behalf. Once again, it's a blanket authorization for all NJDEP permits required for Graydon Pool discharge to the village's sanitary sewer system.
Everybody good?
The next one is replacement of bar screens at the Water Pollution Control Facility. During Storm Ida, the intensity of the incoming flow to the Water Pollution Control Facility destroyed the bar screens in the screening and grit removal building. They are used to remove heavy particles and non-biodegradable debris from the sanitary sewer flow as it enters the plant and the treatment process. Bar screens are a specialty with very few vendors. Working with the PVSC Cooperative Purchasing Program, they found a vendor, Rapid Pump and Meter Service Company, Inc., and they examined the situation, and they were awarded an initial amount of $1 million to start the manufacturing of the replacement headworks equipment for the bar screens. We now have another resolution for the village council to consider, which would be the final award of an additional $1,089,500 to the same company, and they are located in Patterson, New Jersey. This money is available in capital accounts, and then also we have submitted a claim to FEMA and to JIF for these damages and have not yet received any money back from these claims. And again, it's through the capital budget.
So what are the chances that we are going to get some money back?
It takes years, but we probably will get some FEMA money. I don't know if it's going to be 100%.
But it's
there'll be
years
some.
away.
Yeah.
So am I to understand we've been going for almost 2 years without?
Well, some of it's been done, right? $1 million. And
Okay,
then
so maybe
this is the
50%
second
of it
half.
has been done?
I have to see exactly how much of the process has
I
been
mean, I'm
completed.
just questioning how necessary they are if we've been going for 2 years without them.
Well, I don't know that we've been going for 2 years without them. Some of it's been done. I can find out what exactly has been done.
Right.
And what
I mean,
still
'cause it
needs to be
says
done.
they were destroyed, so even if half of them were replaced, what have we been?
I don't know
Yeah.
what they've done in the meantime. I can find that out.
Okay.
And that was my question, too. How has
That's
the
a lot
plant been
of money.
operating since 2021?
Right. I can find that out.
So Heather, how does it work with Jeff? I mean, are there two separate things? Is there anything that we can follow up on to get any of the money back?
FEMA is what we can follow up on.
Okay.
I know, so that's what we'll do. But again, we're not alone. It's everyone in the state of New Jersey who has filed claims. So, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, the next one is solar-powered speed limit warning signs. This is similar to the one that we have on Walnut Street currently. They did put money into the Signal Division capital budget for 8 more of these. They let a driver know the speed they're going instantaneously. It awards a contract under the New Jersey Department of the Treasury, Division of Purchase and Property, NJ Start, to Elon City, New York City, New York, not to exceed $23,394. And again, the funding's in the capital budget.
Do we know where these will be placed?
Well, these are ones that will be moved around probably. So, where that's needed, it'll be posted, and then we may move them around. So I don't know that there are specific places at this time, but we'll certainly put them where they're needed.
Everyone good?
The next one is awarding a contract for a new Toro gas utility vehicle under the Bergen County contract to Stork Tractor Company of Branchburg, New Jersey, not to exceed $36,494.38. This is used by the Parks Department for events, picking up garbage on fields because it's more mobile in the park areas than a pickup truck, and then also used in conjunction with Project Pride for watering the flowers in the Central Business District.
Everybody good?
The next item is also being awarded a contract under Bergen County contract. This is for a Toro diesel utility vehicle. This is used actually at Graydon Pool. It's used for daily maintenance, for grooming the sand, for moving lifeguard materials, for garbage pickup at Graydon, getting it to the proper dumpsters. And so this one is for $48,396.38.
Questions?
The next one is award of a contract for school bus transportation for the day camp trips. And this is to the lowest responsible quote from First Student of Rochelle Park, New Jersey, not to exceed $6,570, and the funding is out of the Recreation Trust account.
Good?
The next one is screens for the tennis and pickleball courts. This is for the purchase and installation of windscreens at the tennis courts at Bel Air, Somerville, North Monroe, and they will be on all 4 sides, and then at the Glen Pickleball Court on one side. It allows the players to see their ball better during play. It provides protection from extreme wind conditions, and it provides semi-privacy. The prior award we made for these windscreens was to EJG Sports. It was never fulfilled because, unfortunately, that company went out of business. So this awards a contract to the lowest responsible quote to BSN Sports of Garfield, New Jersey, not to exceed $21,208.63, and the funding is in the capital budget.
Everybody good?
I just had a question. So I thought the Glen School courts were, covered on 4 sides.
3 sides.
Only 3? Which?
3 sides.
The
one
parking lot
facing the
side
parking
is
lot.
not?
Yeah, in fact, I had to read this twice to catch that because I saw exactly the same thing.
Right.
But it's the parking lot side is open. The other 3 sides are
Okay.
closed.
And then Bel Air and Somerville and North Monroe currently have nothing on any sides.
Yep.
They do not, correct.
Okay.
Well, Somerville has something, it's just kind of old.
That's probably replacing
Yeah.
on Somerville. The next one is awarding a contract under the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract to Gabrielli Kenworth of New Jersey, LLC of Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, not to exceed $387,578.55. Funding is from the streets capital budget, and this is for a new hook lift multifunction truck. It'll be used for material hauling such as soil, ground yard waste, and snow, salting during ice and snow storms, and also the ability to plow snow. And the previous truck actually has been surplused and disposed of.
So right now, we have nothing for like this.
I don't know if we have any other hook lift trucks. I would have to check. The one, though, that this one's replacing is gone. So I will find out if we have any others in service.
Thank you.
Mhm. The next item is equipment for vehicles for the police department. This awards a contract under state contract for the purchase and installation of emergency lights, safety equipment, and other equipment in the 2023 police vehicles. They're going to take equipment out of retired police vehicles and install it with the new equipment as well. So we are going to repurpose some of our equipment. This awards a contract to Winter Ford of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, not to exceed $52,000. It's for 5 vehicles, and the funding's in the police department capital budget.
I do appreciate that the police department is taking what they can from used vehicles and making it work in others.
I agree. So the next one is a mental health program. The New Jersey Association of County and City Health Officials has awarded the village a grant to enhance local public health infrastructure. The grant period is October 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. The village was approved to purchase the Creative Coping Toolkit from Impactful, which is the name of the company. It's a sole provider producer of this product. The kit will be purchased by June 30th and will be available for 1 year starting August 1st, 2023. The main goal of this purchase is to reduce the stigma against mental health and improve the coping skills to address various mental health conditions. This is films, interactive activities. It includes the services of an engagement team to ensure there's a seamless implementation. A lot of these programs are going to be done in the schools.
Questions, anyone?
The next item is the crossing guard services. So we, last year, we awarded a contract to the sole bidder, which is All City Management Services of Santa Fe Springs, California. They've been the successful bidder for crossing guard services for the past several years. So it covers 31 morning and 31 afternoon school crossing guard posts. It's an amount not to exceed $494,511. That was last year's quote. It added an extension for 1 year, optional 1 year, and both parties have agreed to do so. And All City has agreed to keep the same price for the 2023-2024 school year. So we were very happy to hear that.
Questions, anyone?
The next item is about road resurfacing and repair. So in 2020, the village received bids for paving for NJDOT grant work. Received 9 bids, and the low bid was awarded to American Asphalt and Milling Services of Kearney, New Jersey. The village had previously issued awards in the total amount of less than the total amount of the grant. Or in other words, we had done a partial award. We had done an award of $2,496,000. The actual quote that we awarded it to was $2,538,450.91. DOT will not release a grant award unless the village awards the total amount bid. So we had awarded under the amount bid. The work of the project is completed. The award is to get grant funds. So we approved Resolution 23-126, awarding an additional $42,534.90 to close out the project. It appears it should have been 91 cents. It is now 1 penny off. DOT will not award it because will not give us that grant money until we do that additional penny. So therefore, we are going to do it one more time correctly. And
that should teach you a lesson, young lady.
and this way, hopefully, we'll get that grant
We're not
money.
letting that one get by.
So, again, this is a resolution for the final award to American Asphalt. It's 2019 and 2020 DOT Municipal Aid Program grants, and then we can claim the grants. This work is done. It's just us getting that money. So,
Crazy.
Could I
know,
could I
it
ask a
is.
budget question? So
Wait,
that
you have a problem with this?
no. I think it's
Wait, are we arguing over 1 cent now?
No, I'm just wondering financially, when the 42 comes in for the grant, does that just credit a future project? Like, we don't have to.
It reimburses the bond because
Right.
we bond.
That actual
and so there it
Okay.
pays off the bond.
Got it.
So, and the last item under budget is a 2023 budget amendment. The fire department has received a 2023 grant for $32,000 to provide funding for turnout gear. This resolution will allow the grant revenues and appropriation to be added to the 2023 budget because it wasn't anticipated.
Nice.
Good.
The policy is to establish a firearm permit trust fund. This requests a dedication by writer to establish a firearm permit trust fund, which will allow for the payment of the expenses for investigative and administrative expenses related to issuing firearms permits, which have truly increased in the last year. So that'll be beneficial. And that's all I have.
Excellent. Good. And now we will return to public comment. Welcome, Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Boyd A. Loving, 342 South Irving Street. There were a number of comments made by council members tonight, most notably Councilwoman Winograd and the Mayor, regarding what a great job the Parks Department did in terms of recruiting lifeguards. I want to point this out for the record. The hours of operation for Graydon that were announced tonight by the village manager are reduced hours over what is traditionally been done at Graydon. The hours of 11 to 7 were hours that were implemented last year when there was a shortage of guards and during COVID. Prior to COVID-19, the hours of Graydon were 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So I'm wondering, if it was so easy to recruit guards this year and we have so many guards, why can't we go back to the hours that were traditionally in effect at Graydon, which was 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.? That was never discussed by the council. I don't believe the Parks Department ever came, never heard discussion at a work session of hours being reduced. So I'm concerned that people who subscribed to Graydon this year, who joined as members, thought that they might go at 10 and stay as late as 7:30, and now we're being told after everybody's money is in, well, everybody who wanted the early bird special, after their money is in, the hours are going to be 11 to 7. So just something that perhaps we can explore and find out what happened. If there was no shortage of guards and guards were easy to recruit this year, why aren't we opening at 10 and closing at 7:30 as we traditionally did prior to 2020? Another comment I'd like to make is that during a previous work session, I believe, or maybe it was during the last public session, I expressed my disappointment about the $59,000 that's going to be spent on garbage receptacles. I indicated that I was wondering if the taxpayers had to foot that entire bill, since there was going to be supposedly some efforts made to get some money back from the previous vendor. And I also pointed out that it appeared as though the garbage cans were being deliberately defaced and destroyed, and wondered if an investigation was being conducted by the police department in an attempt to determine who the perpetrator or perpetrators were and perhaps get some money back from them. No one offered the courtesy of giving me a phone call or sending me a note indicating what those answers to those questions were. So I still have those questions. Are the taxpayers going to be on the hook for the whole $59,000, or are we going to be getting money from someplace else? was quite surprised this evening about the gas utility vehicle that is being proposed for the Parks Department that the deputy mayor didn't ask, why can't that be electric? I would have the same question. Why can't that be an electric vehicle? I understand that the diesel power is needed for raking the sand, but the electric vehicle just drives, or the other vehicle just drives around, doesn't really do anything. Why can't that be an electric vehicle? Why are we going for gas? And I don't know how much time I have left because the shot clock isn't working, but I want to say one more thing, and that is I was very disappointed tonight when I came into the building and I noticed that there are closed session agendas posted that have subject matters on them. Traditionally, that information would be carried on this and posted on the web, so we had some idea what you were talking about. There's a lot of talk about transparency from this council, but that is now one more thing that has been removed from the public view unless the public comes into the building to see it. And I'm hoping that the subject matter of closed sessions, even though they are occurring before the meeting starts, are posted again on this piece of paper that's given out to people as they walk in the room and posted on the web. Interesting to note that tonight's closed session dealt with something about the acquisition of another piece of property. Again, I would say there's kind of like no money, no overtime, but here we are thinking about the acquisition of another piece of property, and I'm wondering if that perhaps was why that information is not on here, because you didn't want anybody to know that here we go again. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Boyd.
Cynthia O'Keefe, 542 West Saddle River Road. Good evening. So I just wanted to bring up a couple of what I would call housekeeping items that I had on my mind, and by no means am I an expert as to local government or what goes on, so I learn as I attend these meetings. But I was a little disappointed, and this is no reflection on the council, but I have always valued truth in reporting. And I did read the Tap Into Ridgewood article that discussed the hearing that we all attended. There was a bit of a misinformation, and I want to go on the record tonight to correct that, because a retraction was rejected, not by me. I didn't send any information in, but I do know a neighbor had asked for a correction, and it was rejected. So the article starts saying, this part is true, no public discussion took place, and the measure was passed without presenting a plan, financials, or addressing health and environmental impacts, and that 250 residents did provide, this says questions and concerns. That's actually not true. Those were objections and petitions. So that's a correction number one. And so the other one is that it says, despite intense opposition to the measure from those in attendance at the public hearing, the council voted in favor, 4-1. Rurik Halaby, who has his 15 minutes of fame at most meetings, has lived in Ridgewood. That was my ad lib part. But, he's always got a public service announcement. So he actually was quoted as one of few people, residents, who voted in favor. He was the only person. He was not one of few. The way I understand it, and maybe Matt or whoever can correct me, because if I don't understand local government, my understanding is that the village council does not vote as residents. You vote as governing body, a local government, as elected officials. So to say in this article, and again, it's not your fault, it was, I think, misrepresented to people reading it who maybe didn't attend the meeting, that there was only one person who objected. Everyone else was one person in favor, and everybody else objected, excuse me. So that was number one. And I just wanted to clear that up, because I think when people read things, they think that that's truth and fact. And so I just want to make sure we put it out there so that people do understand what really happened. I was also a little disappointed, and again, I'm new to this process, but I really felt that the hearing was very disorganized in the sense that, this is a local governing body where I would think that there would be protocol and procedure And so for there not to be, papers for people to look at and information to absorb and understand so that we as residents could come, and especially neighbors, because, these are all shots in the dark that are coming at us at lightning speed. And we're hearing things, not through the proper channels, I believe. And so if there's a way to, maybe course correct, that would be appreciated. We talk about transparency, so I think that that's super important. And as we always maintain, the neighborhood is open to discussions. And I, last week, invited anybody down to the neighborhood who wanted to have a discussion. That's an open invitation. So that's number one. And the second point that I wanted to make, and I know Heather's been busy, I'm not trying to call her out, but we did send some emails. Ellie Gruber sent some emails to find out what kind of protocol happens with the house. We noticed that windows are open, it's raining, electrical boxes are left open, there could be a fire, there could be, damage to the property. This is a historically preserved property, and I, as a concerned neighbor, walk my dog past the house and I see that windows are open and there's like a rainstorm coming, and I don't even get a response to an email. Ellie Gruber she wrote an email on May 1st, 0 response. So I don't think that's fair. It's not respectful. I understand everyone's busy. Maybe there's a way to delegate it to somebody else who could, get back to us, or, especially to Ellie, because she is the president of the 501c3 of the Zabriskie-Shedler House. So that's all I ask, is just a little fairness and transparency. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Jacqueline Holm, 30 Carriage Lane. I'd want to continue my statement regarding the application of 510 West Saddle River Road. As I was stating before, 105 pages, none of which were given to the public at the time of the public hearing, which is shameful. It comes across as intentional omission. It's not even up on the website. I had to Oprah to request the application. So if this council would like to continue working with the public and be transparent as you claim to be, I think your actions need to speak much louder than your words, because that's not the perception that's being given to the public right now. Elaine Gold, in charge of Bergen County Preservation, wrote to Heather May Lander immediately after the public hearing. So I'm not sure if you're aware or not. We don't know. We're not given any information. But what it said was, she did a complete assessment of what was being requested and said archaeology does not recognize lot lines, and therefore the same high potential for historic archaeology exists at 510 West Saddle River Road, making it potentially eligible for listing in the New Jersey and National Registers under Criterion A. Associations with significant historical events, and Criterion D, sites that have yielded or may have likely to yield information important in prehistory or history. If after acquisition any improvements are planned, a Phase 1A archaeological assessment by an archaeologist who meets the Secretary of the Interior's professional qualification standards as outlined in Appendix A of 36 CFR Part 61 of the National Historic Preservation Act is recommended, strongly recommended. The Bergen County Historic Preservation Trust Fund rules stipulate that projects must be compliant with all New Jersey HPO requirements to qualify for funding. It would be critical for any project at this location, 510 West Saddle River Road, to have the New Jersey Historic Preservation Office approvals in place before the funding is awarded. that's going to require more money. Archaeological assessments cost money. The village is aware of this. Given that, and the potential of acquiring other properties surrounding the areas, you're just opening more expenditure. As it is, the guidelines for Bergen County grant funding, that money is most likely, the calendar says it won't be approved till the end of this year. So if we can't use the money, and now we need even more money to do archaeological assessments by archaeologists that meet the Secretary of Interior standards, not village manager or village engineer, then why not use that money that we clearly are just freezing because of some type of clock or promise that has been put over somebody's head to fix the footbridge, to take care of the safety projects, to give the Ridgewood Police Department the 5 officers that they asked for? Or maybe just to answer the public. Just tell us why. Not just sit there in silence, not respond to any email, not respond to any public comment unless it fits your narrative. It's shameful that members of the public got up here and said comments, and the only thing that gets addressed is when someone says that the mayor lied, or when another resident said that the village engineer is an arborist. Well, I recall the village engineer sitting here and actually saying that most of the things were out of his league because he started off as an arborist and learned here at the village of Ridgewood and went up. So, Mayor, I'm not sure when's the last time you practiced law, but in slander cases, elected officials have to meet a more stringent standard. Public officials have to show that the speaker made the statement, knowing that the statements were false. The court actually favors the right of free speech over an elected official's reputation. And I saw a resident come up here and thoughtfully, concisely give a comparison. So before threats start coming from this council to public, I ask that you address what you're elected to do, which are the concerns of the residents of Ridgewood.
Thank you very much, Jackie.
Answer our questions and represent us, please.
Thank you.
Ann Loving, 342 South Irving Street. I just wanted to say something about Oprah requests. Under Oprah, the custodian has to respond to a request as soon as possible or within 7 business days after the request has been submitted. That's not happening lately, and the reasons why it can't happen have to do with if the documents have been archived and are difficult to achieve, or if the reports are voluminous, hundreds of pages or whatever. In the interest of transparency, it is very important that Oprah requests be fulfilled. And if the only person that can supply the information is, for example, the mayor, then the mayor needs to do it, especially when it's a mayor that's talking about transparency. I will say that I submitted an Oprah for something from Councilwoman Winograd, and she got it right back to me, and I appreciate that. Maybe that's because she's been on the other side and has submitted Oprahs, and she understands that law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. And now we will go to our hybrid access. Susan, you're up. You're on mute, Susan.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Susan Ruan, 705 Kingsbridge Lane. I'm just following up in regard to a few topics. One is, yes, the village engineer clearly stated in a meeting, a prior meeting, I would have to find it, that he applied for the arborist position in Ridgewood and then was given, but he did not get it, and was given then the engineer position. So my comment was based on his comments about his qualifications. So, and that's why an outside engineering company came in to assess the bridge, because I don't believe the village engineer was qualified to do it, unfortunately. And I just heard from a resident that there was a closed door meeting about another property acquisition. And I am, again, very concerned that money will be taken away from the footbridge to do the property acquisition, which seemed to be what happened the last time, that a property acquisition was taken, was prioritized over the footbridge. And when I went to the committee, the Citizen Safety Advisory Committee, back in April, a majority of the people seemed to be from the west side of Ridgewood, and were pushing for the West Glen Ave to be paved. When I spoke to them about the footbridge, it seemed like it was the first time they heard about it. So I'm not certain why that committee doesn't have a cross-section of residents and why majority have to be only from one side of Ridgewood. And I know it's a volunteer position. I would gladly volunteer for that because I do take people's safety as a priority. But I do believe that there should be a cross-section of people because safety is a priority for all residents in Ridgewood, not just the ones on the west side. And again, I would like to have some sort of guarantee, a promise. I don't even know. I mean, that the footbridge will be finished next year. Because at this point, Shedler has been taking the main stage. And even when the footbridge was discussed, I discussed it back on one-on-one with the mayor and council member Lorraine at our meeting. And I know I've been posting on Facebook, and I've been to various council meetings, and then I've been told by one council member that it was the first time that they heard about the footbridge. So it's been very disheartening, and I'm not certain why the footbridge wasn't discussed in the budget, because it was a priority, and it was front and center, and it has been closed for 2 years. And I hope to God Shedler does not, again, take money away from the footbridge because you want to acquire another property to make a sports complex up there. All right, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Susan. You too. Mr. Hallaby, you're up.
I was actually flattered. Warwick Hallaby, 1 Franklin Avenue. I was flattered by the recognition of my 15 minutes of fame. It really made my day. But really, what I really wanted to say was how pleased I am, and I think I'm talking for Cynthia, how pleased she is by the amazing monument designed by Tess Giuliani and Lynn Brady. In 100 years, people will be talking about Henry Bacon, Tess Giuliani, and Lynn Brady for what the addition they have to the Van Ness Park. Yes, good things take longer, but yet you, Paul and Pam, stood firm last, October, when you were subjected to all the pressure. And then when you came and were elected and came into power, you told people what you were going to do, and you delivered. And I'm so happy to see the American Legion being so supportive of it, of the design that Lynn and Tess have done. yes, good things take long, and you cannot rush good things, and you cannot tell Michelangelo he's taking too long to finish the Sistine Chapel. This is what an idiot says, frankly. So anyway, again, congratulations and many, many thanks. The future generations of Ridgewood residents will look back and thank you for your leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hallaby. And as we have no more comments from the audience, anyone want to respond to anything that was said tonight?
I do. With Mr. Loving's comment, I didn't even see the closed agenda. Like, what did it say?
I think,
We'd have to ask Heather, I think, or
Yeah.
someone from the clerk's office.
I believe what Boyd said was that it was on the agenda that was in Village Hall, but not online.
No, yes. Right. He said that, but I still want to see what it said on closed agenda, because normally if it says, like, acquisition of property, it would say...
It says legal to town garage.
Oh, okay. So it says town garage. Okay.
If I may respond, if Lorraine's done. Just in regard to Mr. Loving's comments, I know his issue was about notice, but just so to dispel the concept that there's, because it was brought up by another speaker, about money being involved. The money for the acquisition with regard to the town garage has been set aside for a number of years at this point. It didn't take from anything in the last 3 or 4 budgets. I think it's been at least 5 years that the money's been available. I could be wrong. But the money for the town garage acquisition has been set aside for a while. And another issue that was brought up with regard to OPRAs. There can be any of 50 to 60 to 70 reasons why OPRAs are delayed past the 7-business-day response date that's recommended in the statute. And those reasons can be just an office being overwhelmed and just needing the time to be able to respond. Sometimes it has to do with clarity. Sometimes it has to do with the volume of materials. Sometimes it has to do with the ability to procure the documents. So it's a whole number of issues. And I hope, and I think that, over the years that OPRA's been involved and our clerk's office has been responsive to that. There's only been one time period that we had any complaints about the responses that came in. And there was never a finding that there was any deliberate effort to delay or not to respond to any OPRA request. So our clerk's office has been pretty sharp in regard to that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a couple things. First, with respect to Graydon, if I said it was easy, I'm sorry. I meant it was successful. The process of securing lifeguards was also expensive. We did an enormous amount of PR, mailing, and by no means was it easy, so I apologize if I said that, but I'm very happy it was successful. We paid a premium price. We really recruited. We had a job fair with the high school, and so other towns still aren't as lucky, and I think that our Parks Department was very creative in getting it out there, and I'm very happy that we got the numbers that we did, but it was definitely not easy, and it was super expensive to promote the jobs. I know that most residents got the mailing. That was rare for us to do that, and we really did. I think the Parks Department did a great job in ensuring that the park could be open longer, and I'm very grateful. Many people are still struggling with the lifeguard shortage, like up and down the East Coast. The second part, with respect to the garbage cans, I did pull all the previous bonds when we met. I gave them to both Heather and Matt, and because it would be a product liability, I asked for them to follow up. I believe they were looking into it, but I did take all the past capital purchases, pull them, look at them. And lastly, I'm unaware of a police investigation regarding any of destruction. The police were at the table with the selection, and I think the general sentiment, Lorraine and everybody, is that the product has just failed, that it wasn't really vandalism. So those are my only responses. Hope that helps.
Anybody else?
I just want to say, Mr. Rudishauser, when he was hired as a village engineer. He was not hired as an arborist. In a previous profession that he held prior to being an engineer, not for the village of Ridgewood, he worked on trees. He never got an arborist designation, but he knows a lot about trees. So he has always been the village engineer. He has a PE. He was never the arborist for the village of Ridgewood.
I have one last question. Speaking of trees, it reminded me, I think you were going to find out about the trees on the berm at Chedler that are dying.
Yes, there were, I know Matt and Chris are working on that.
Okay.
As far as how many have died and going back to the provider of the trees and seeing what we could get. I don't know if you had anything else to mention. I don't know.
Got to put this on. As I said, I can't remember the number that was given to me, but I know it's in double figures of the number of trees that have died. And this is an issue that's it's about to be litigated. So
What do you mean litigated?
lawsuits are starting. I mean, actually mediation. We're going into mediation with regard to it.
Because I thought the contract was they would replace it if it died within a certain period of time.
Yeah, but in order to enforce a contract, sometimes you need the courts, sometimes you need a mediator or an arbitrator. Nobody just agrees to adhere to it. If they broke it in the first place, they're not going to necessarily agree to fix it later on. That's why there's lawsuits. That's why there's disputes. Because
That's
you rely on the contract.
That's a shame that they don't stand by their contracts.
You rely on the contracts to enforce it, but that's
Even
really where
Home
it is.
Depot has a 1-year guarantee, and if I bring back my dead plant, they give me my money back.
You need the receipt, but we have to deal with that, and that's something that we're working on right now.
And with that, do we have anything else? No? May we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.